In my first ever college basketball game, we were down 76-75 with 20 seconds left in the game. My teammate inbounded me the ball, I dribbled up the court and shot, but I missed. As I went for the rebound, I planted my left knee and I collapsed in agony. The ball rolled out of my left hand and we lost the game. When my knee collapsed, I had torn both my ACL and my MCL, and my basketball career had just ended. As a top high school recruit, I was supposed to be a top pick in the next NBA draft, but now that was all gone. For me personally, this is a fictional situation, but for hundreds of basketball players around the world, this is their sad reality. Now, as Southerners, I'm sure we all have a favorite college team that we root for on the weekends, but some of our favorite players that we watch every single day are being put at unnecessary risk of injuries. As both a former basketball player and a basketball fan, I've seen lots of injuries, and the NCAA has a very unknown rule that is causing a lot of these injuries. It's called the one and done rule, and it forces high school basketball players to play at least one season of college basketball before they can play in the NBA. Now, if you're like me, you don't want to see dreams shattered and hard work wasted. So I'm going to show you how the NCAA steals millions of dollars from players and risks hurting their draft stock. First, let's talk about the financial burden that the NCAA puts on players by being a corrupt and greedy organization. The NCAA says that players cannot do or receive the following: salary for participation in athletics, prize money above expenses, play with professionals, or be involved with an agent. Now, if you look right here, this says that 1% of college basketball players will be drafted into the NBA. That means that 99% will never earn a single penny to support their families by playing basketball. And if you look right here, this says that from 2003 through 2018, the overall college sports revenue grew by $10 billion. $10 billion. But the NCAA still doesn't want to give players a small sliver of that to help pay for bills to support their families. According to Sports Illustrated, Zion Williamson, who was the number one overall pick in the 2019 NBA draft, signed a $75 million deal with Jordan Brand before he ever stepped foot on a professional basketball court. So if you're a poor family that's living paycheck to paycheck, that kind of money could obviously change your life for generations to come. Now, some people say that the NCAA already pays their players, just not in the form of cash. Christy Clark from the Federalist says that if you attend a Division I school for 4 years, you will receive a $200,000 education, free gear, free tutoring, and free workout facilities. But what she fails to recognize is that athletic scholarships don't always cover things like food, room and board, transportation, gas, and things of that nature. So working out in $1 million sports facility really doesn't mean much if you can't afford a Subway sandwich for lunch. Now, forcing players to play an extra season of college basketball puts them at unnecessary risk of injuries. Tom Lee says that when Nerlens Noel came to Kentucky as a freshman, he was projected to be the number one overall pick in the NBA draft the next year. But when he tore his ACL early in his freshman season, he dropped from the first pick to the sixth pick, costing him millions of dollars in a signing bonus. After that, his NBA career was very below average. So who's to say that the ACL injury caused by him playing an unnecessary season in college wasn't the beginning of the end for him? So now let's look at some individual solutions and some group solutions for the one and done rule. Now first, what can you do as an individual? The first thing you can do is acknowledge that there needs to be change in college basketball. No more families living in poverty unnecessarily. I would propose a 0 or 2 rule, which means that a player in high school could go straight from high school to the NBA and earn the money that he needs to support his family, or he could go to college for 2 years if his family is financially stable enough for him to pay to go to college, or if he just needs practice to go to the pros. Now, this idea is not new. USC's head coach was quoted by Ben Volch as saying, "I think everyone would like to see players leave right out of high school or stay for 3 years, but I think we'd all be happy with 2 years." Now, what can we as a society do? We should voice our opinions through social media and boycotts. If we boycott the NCAA, they'll have no choice but to change the rule, because the only way that the NCAA makes money is through our viewership. Mark Heisler says it's about money for the schools and dreams for the players. So if we voice our opinions and boycott the NCAA, the schools would still get their money after they change the rule, and the players' dreams would still be fulfilled. In closing, the NCAA robs players of millions of dollars and puts them at risk of injury. Now, I'm sure all of us at one point have a dream of raising a family. So if you have kids and they choose to play sports and they're good enough to play professionally, would you rather them get paid millions of dollars right out of high school, or would you rather them live in poverty for 4 years and put their careers in jeopardy unnecessarily? I think the answer is obvious.